UFC Rio in the main event, a legend returns. And also Charles Oliveira is coming back as well. So today we're going to yap, we're going to talk, we're going to predict, we're going to break down to the best of our abilities UFC Rio. And yes, I do have a new camera. Yes, I'm trying to figure out the lighting. So please don't judge me. Bear with it. It looks kind of weird. It makes me look like I have lipstick for some. We're starting with a non-women's fight. That being Luan Lacerda versus Saimon Oliveira. Now, I would love to go super in-depth for you guys and love to really break this down, but I'm on a time crunch here, so let's just go with Luan Lacerda, No, I'm just going to go Luan Lacerda. I think he's... Yeah, Luan Lacerda via KO, man. First round submission, first round KO, man. Julia Polastri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Julia Polastri is actually pretty solid. I can't lie to you guys. Like, she's a pretty solid women's fighter. She's got, like, she actually, like, all jokes aside, she looked pretty good in her last fight. Like, she did. She fought really hard against, she looked good in, I can't remember who her last opponent was. Lupe Godinez. See, when you have a name like that, it's pretty hard to remember, but Lupe, right? I think her name is Lupita, which is that even better? Or Julia Polastri looked pretty good against Lupe Godinez. What a name. And to the point where she almost finished Lupe Godinez. And Lupe Godinez is somebody who is, like, I think she's relatively highly ranked at strawweight. People say she's a contender. She might challenge for a title. And Polastri looked good. Now, Polastri doesn't have a lot of wins on her resume. Karolina Kowalkiewicz doesn't really have a lot of wins either. When I say a lot of wins, I mean, in the UFC recently, they haven't won all of their fights or anything. Usually I like to do the eye test with these fights. Whoever looks more lesbian, usually I pick, but both of these women are equal in terms of looks. So I'm going to say Julia Polastri is going to win this one via a third-round TKO, I guess. I don't know. She's pretty tough, and, I don't know. She's a tough cookie. Valter Walker, Mohammed Usman, the lock of the card, the lock of the year, the easiest fight to predict in the history of this channel, in the history of MMA. I'm going to say Mohammed Usman flatline kills Valter Walker. I'm kidding. Valter Walker's going to win. Easy money. I think Mohammed Usman is going to trudge forward. Actually, no. What I think is going to happen is Valter Walker is going to be the aggressor like he was in his last fight. He's going to all, try to just storm towards Mohammed Usman, all get in his face and stuff. All get in his face? What does that mean? He's going to get all in his face. There you go. You can tell it was a Tylenol, baby. He's gonna get in his face, and I think he's going to do what he did in his last fight, and I think he's going to get that leg. He just has a weird ability, more than any heavyweight I've probably ever seen, or at least in recent years. He's got great jiu-jitsu, but he has a specifically great leg lock, and I think it's going to be no different. I don't think Mohammed Usman is fast enough on the feet. He, just like his brother, must be genetically, but he has very slow knees. He doesn't have the best footwork. I think he's susceptible to getting caught in a knee bar. And I think Valter Walker, though I'm worried he might eat some fluky left hook from Mohammed Usman, I think he's going to be good enough to catch Mohammed Usman with that knee bar in the first round. So Valter Walker, first round knee bar. Lucas Rocha, Stewart Nicoll. Ooh, this one's really tough. Let's go Lucas Rocha via a first round submission. Cool. Bia Mesquita versus Irena Alekseeva. Oh, this one's even tougher, man. Bia Mesquita, man, she's one of the craziest contenders I've ever seen, man. Did you guys see she KO'd a freaking Alex Pereira on the regionals? Dude, my voice cracked. I'm going to say Bia Mesquita, Bia Mesquita versus Irena Alekseeva. These are real names. These are actual human being names, but I'm going to say Bia Mesquita wins. I'm going to assume she's Brazilian. She doesn't have any flags attached to her name, but I'm just going to assume she's Brazilian since she's making her debut, and usually this is what happens. They throw a Brazilian on the card making their debut, or whatever. If they're in Mexico, they're going to throw a Mexican making his debut. You get the point, right? So I think she's going to win her debut against a relatively mid fighter, that being Irena Alekseeva. I'm going to say first round finish for Bia Mes. Who the fuck names these people? Who names their kid Bia? Bia Mesquita? Like what? Alekseeva. I will not see ya. See ya later. Alligator. In a while. Crack it out. Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Petersen. Thomas Petersen, man. He's a fat guy. He's real fat. He's one of those fat Americans. You know this guy in another life he's a fat fireman who loves eating donuts on his break. And I'm gonna say Petrino wins this one via lighter man skill. He looked all right in his last fight. I mean, his last opponent was Austin Lane, who I'm pretty sure has been KO'd by a schoolgirl, my grandmother, even myself. I KO'd Austin Lane at one point in my career. So, no, I'm joking. He KO'd me, actually. It was really tragic. It's what forced me to retire and start a YouTube channel. But Vitor Petrino, I think he's going to beat old Thomas Petersen. Look, Thomas Petersen, again, in another life, he's that donut eating, the jelly donut eating freaking fireman, the real American's American. You know, he loves hamburgers and grilling. But in this lifetime, he's a fat blob of a UFC fighter who realistically should be a welterweight, but he's not disciplined enough. I'm retarded. So I think Vitor Petrino is going to beat him. I think he's going to submit him in the first round, similar to his last fight, with a rear naked choke. All the Thomas Petersen fans are going to storm my comments, right? I'm pretty sure. Vitor Petrino, first round sub. Let's go. Jafel, Filho, Clayton, Carpenter. I'm going to go Clayton Carpenter. He's got solid grappling. He's a solid fighter. He's a good prospect, underrated prospect. And Filho has good jiu-jitsu, but Carpenter also has good jiu-jitsu and is a better all-around grappler. I think he'll do enough to not get subbed, while also he probably won't sub Jafel Filho, but he'll do enough to win dominantly, I guess, or at least it might be a bit competitive, but he'll win pretty decisively. 29-28, 30-27, decision. Lucas Almeida, Michael Aswell. That's really his name. This isn't really a fight I care about. I think both these guys are coming off losses. Again, there's a lot of that on this card, which I don't love, but I'm going to say Aswell wins because Almeida has lost more. I don't fucking know. Aswell, decision. Ricardo Ramos, Con Ofli. All right, let's speed through this. I'm going to say Con Ofli, first round KO. Janat to the knees, Mario Pinto. Okay, here we go. Now these last few fights, I'll actually take some time and care about these fights. I'll actually care about these fights. Janat to the knees versus Mario Pinto. Ooh. I don't know who the underdog is or the favorite. For some reason, it doesn't show me, but I don't really care. I'm going to say Mario Pinto wins. Janat to the knees is all right, man. He's coming off of a win against a guy, Alvin Hines, who had apparently tested positive for roids. Yes, that guy was on roids, of all the people. But to be fair, they literally picked him up from the regionals on a week's notice and threw him on the card. Like, obviously, he was on something. Janat to the knees versus Mario Pinto. The knees is all right, man, but like, you know, Mario Pinto is actually built like an actual heavyweight man. He's not really like, he's got some, I was going to say he's got some meat on him, but it's just like, at what point are we just saying homosexual stuff? I'm going to say Mario Pinto wins a first round KO. Look, Denise, he's a good kickboxer. He's a solid kickboxer, but he just hasn't shown me a lot in the UFC, and he's faced so many blobs. I just feel like he lost to Tybura, and other than that, like, he's beaten everybody else. But it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, what do you want me to say? Mario Pinto is going to win a second round TKO. Because, look, with heavyweight, it's always a coin toss, but Pinto is the younger guy. He's like 10-0. He's got a lot of first-round finishes. I think 6 first-round finishes. Lots of knockouts. I think he's got like 1 or 2 subs. I think it's 1. He's tough. He's good. He's tough. He's coming off of a KO win against Austin Lane, which, again, a lot of people on this card have KO'd Austin Lane. Is that his name, Austin Lane? Or am I thinking of... No, I'm thinking of Julian Lane. Let me bang, bro. That's his name. Austin Lane, yeah, that's the same guy. Yeah, Austin Lane's garbage, man. I wish it was Julian Lane because I want to see him bang. But anyways, let's go Mario Pinto to bang Janat to the knees. And not in that way, not in a Nina drama way, but in a fighter way. He's going to bang his head off the canvas in the second round. Mario Pinto. Now, let's move on to legalized murder in the octagon. Joe Alvarez versus Vicente Luque. They don't like my boy Luke. Wasn't this supposed to be Santiago Ponzinibbio? Wasn't this supposed to be? Imagine like you're preparing for Ponzinibbio. You're Vicente Luque. You're excited to fight Ponzinibbio. And you end up drawing the Joel Alvarez card, a guy who's like a freaking marauder at lightweight. Has some pretty good wins. I mean, he's not really beating anyone like insane. Like, whoa. Like, he is coming off of like a Jakar close win. But he's got a lot of wins, is my point. You know, his only losses are like Armin Sarukian and I think Demir Ismagulov, I think. Like, when he was kind of good. Remember Demir Ismagulov? People were I was glazing him. I was like, dude, Demir Ismagulov, man. No, I was a Guram Kutateledzi glazer. I still love Guram, but he's retired now, so it is what it is. But Joel Alvarez is going to send Vicente Luque to the same retirement home as Guram and Demir Ismagulov. He is going to retire Vicente Luque. No, I don't know about if he's going to retire him, but he's going to finish him in the first round, man. Luque, I don't think he's completely washed. I don't think he's completely buns. I don't think he's completely done. But I do think that he is... It's Joel Alvarez, man. And, like, he's moving up a weight class, and he struggled to make lightweight a lot. So this is a good move for him. I'm glad he's moved up to, in my opinion, the most stacked division of all time, that being 20-25 welterweight. It is the most stacked division of all time. Let me know if you agree in the comments below. But I think Vicente Luque is going to get finished by Joel Alvarez. It makes sense. It makes more sense than, Vicente Luque is going to submit or he's going to KO Joel Alvarez. Really? Joel Alvarez is a monster. He's a monster. He truly is a monster. And Vicente Luque is on the decline. He's coming off of a loss to Kevin Holland, which is not a bad loss, but it is Kevin Holland. It's just like, it makes sense, man. Joe Alvarez, I think he's gonna fill him out a little bit. I think he's gonna crack him, and I think he's gonna go for the finish. I think it's gonna get wild, a little bit scrappy, but I think he's going to really push Luque against the cage. I think Luque's gonna pull Mohammed Ankalaev. Ha, Ankalaev, you freaking coward. He's gonna pull Mohammed Ankalaev. He's going to go for the legs. I think he's gonna get subbed with maybe a guillotine, a standing something. Maybe I'll say like a standing guillotine. You know, or like something, and he puts out Luque, or Luque taps, something like that. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be brutal, sadly. It is what it is, man. I think Joel Alvarez is going to really, really mess up Vicente Luque. He's going to really mess him up. Again, I like Luque. I don't think he's completely buns, but like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? This is sending a lamb to slaughter, and that lamb is Vicente Luque. So, first round finish for Joel Alvarez. It's going to be like he's going to like hurt him and then he's going to sub him, is what I think. Deiveson, Figueiredo, Montel, Jackson. We got a lot of Brazilian legends on this card, by the way, obviously. And I think they're all going to lose. No, well, you know what? I think this one is. I'm going to say Montel Jackson wins. Might be a controversial pick, might be a weird pick. Montel Jackson is really fast. He's got good power. I don't know how high level he is. This is obviously his best test, his best opponent up to now. He's only ranked number 15, but he's got like a ton of wins on his resume. Like, I think right now, currently, he's on like a 6-fight winning streak. I'm not even joking. He's been cooking. And I think against a guy like Deiveson Figueiredo, who's just, Figueiredo's all right. Like, it's not like Figueiredo is trash. But, the kid, he's not good enough. No, I'm kidding. I think, look, here's the thing. Deiveson Figueiredo's a legend. He was a monster at flyweight, but we're not at flyweight no more. And when he moved up, he had a good little streak of wins against Cody Garbrandt, wins against Chito Vera, wins against, I can't remember who else. Pedro Munoz? I don't know who else it was. Solid little wins. And then you fought Peter Yan. And Peter Yan for 5 rounds. I mean, it was a little bit competitive, but it was clearly a Peter Yan fight. Other than like a few times from Figueiredo, a few good little shots from Figgy. He had a few moments, but overall he was getting picked apart by Peter Yan. And there was a speed advantage clearly from Peter Yan. And the same thing happened against Corey. The speed advantage. Corey was faster than Figueiredo. Now you're on 2 losses. You're like pushing 40. You might already be 40. I don't know. But he's pushing 40. He's on a few losses. He's coming off of a leg injury. How are you already back from a nasty leg injury like you had against Corey? How are you already back in the octagon? So either you are faking it, which is also a bad look, or you're legitimately. I mean, I would imagine he's not still injured, but I would imagine he's healed from it by now. But it's not the best look just jumping right back in there. I don't love it. I don't love it for Figueiredo. I don't love it. And against a guy like Montel Jackson, who's very fast, has the reach advantage, I believe. He's solid. He's underrated. He's got KO power as well. He's got good grappling. Like, he's not just going to be held down or subbed. Like, he does have good grappling. He's shown that in the past. You're facing a guy like Montel Jackson, man. I don't know if he's got it in him. Older guy. You know, my voice just got shaky there. Older guy. Because I'm so sad that I have to pick against Figgy, but he's an older guy. You know, he's not going to do it, man. I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. You know, compared to Charles Oliveira in the main event, who, in my opinion, it's a different stylistic situation. If this was a grappler, maybe I would favor Figgy, but it's a guy with really fast hands. And Figueiredo's biggest problem in his last two fights, in my opinion, one of the biggest problems was he was speed mogged. He was getting outsped. What are we? Gene Silva were just speds. He was getting out like quick. That doesn't make any sense, but you understand my point. Like, he was getting speed mogged. And against Montel Jackson, it's going to be the same thing. But Montel Jackson, he could make it a little bit boring as well. He does a good job of staying out of the way while also landing his own shots. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I could see Figgy having some moments maybe, but I'm going to say Montel Jackson 30-27, man. Maybe a 29-28. I'm going to say Montel Jackson just kind of does this thing, picks him apart on the outside, and wins a decision. It might not be the best. I don't know. It could be exciting maybe. I mean, Figgy does have good fights at times, but against a guy like Montel Jackson, you're on a 2-fight losing streak. You got like no momentum right now. It's over, man. It's over for him. So that's my pick, Montel Jackson. Dominant decision, maybe. Maybe dominant. Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. I'm having problems with this fight because off camera I've been going back and forth. What if I go with Gamrot? I have a feeling Gamrot's going to win. Now, maybe that's just because I like Gamrot and I want him to win, so it's kind of like my bias is getting in the way. But you know what? I think against Charles Oliveira, sadly, I just can't see him winning. It's not that it's an impossible task or an impossible feat or, it doesn't make sense. How could Gamrot beat Charles Oliveira? He very well could beat Charles Oliveira. There is a chance that he could go out there, not get submitted, hold down Charles Oliveira. His striking could be improved. He trains with Poirier. His striking could be better. His grappling could get even better as well. It's just, man, I don't know. It's like Oliveira's not going to have to worry about getting dropped or KO'd or badly pieced up by Gamrot. And I think Charles Oliveira, though he got flatline KO'd, I don't think that means, he's just going to get dropped to a jab. There's guys that have been flatline KO'd and then went on to show they still have good chins. Justin Gaethje's a good example. Dustin Poirier's a great example. Max Holloway's a good recent example. Most of these lightweight legends, obviously Charles Oliveira being within that mix, most of the violent legends of the Maxes, the Poiriers, the Gaethjes, those guys have all been TKO'd or flatline KO'd recently, and they've all come back and, shown, okay, they still have good chins. And I think it's going to be the same in this fight. I think Charles is going to... The only problem is, though, that's giving me pause, is like, did any of those guys come back this quick? No. This is the problem. You just got killed over the summer. Now you're back in October? Really? And this feels like one of those where it's like when a boxer gets knocked down, but they want to get back up right away just to prove like, oh, no, I'm all right. Rather than just, taking the count, waiting until it gets like 7, 8, then standing up, buying themselves some time. What Charles is doing almost, I feel like, is that he got KO'd in his last fight, and he's sort of like, I don't know, he's just like jumping back in there to like prove that he's like still, I don't know, it's really odd, and I don't love the decision, and I don't love the fact that he kind of low-key ducked Gamrot. People will say, no, he didn't duck him because he's fighting him, but he himself, with his own words, said he doesn't want to fight Gamrot. Now, he ended up fighting Gamrot. Maybe that's because there was literally no other option, but like Mauricio Rufy and like Diego Lopez were the only other options, I'm assuming. So, yeah, of course he's fighting Gamrot. Yeah, I'm going to say Charles wins, though. with all that being said, with him getting KO'd recently, with him maybe not even wanting to fight this guy, with Gamrot seemingly he looked really good in his last fight against Ludovic Klein, but it is Ludovic Klein. I'm going to say Charles Oliveira wins. I'm going to say Charles Oliveira. I'm going to say round 1, it's all right. It's not super chaotic. I'm going to say round 2, it gets a little bit more chaotic. And what I think is going to happen is I think Gamrot, I could even see Gamrot having decent success with the grappling in round 1. But I think in round 2, he's going to get cracked and he's going to do what he always does. And I love Gamrot. You guys know this. But what I think he's going to do, which is what he always does, he did it against Dan Hooker. He did it against, I think, Jalen Turner. He did it against Dariush. And he has a great chin. This is the thing. He's never I don't even know if he's ever been KO'd or TKO'd in the UFC. He has a great chin. He has a granite chin because he gets hurt, he gets dropped, but he never gets finished. It's like the Jared Cannonier thing where it's like Jared Cannonier, you would assume he has a bad chin, but that's because he's been dropped a lot. But he's also survived and then even went on to win like against Gregory Rodriguez. And Gamrot has done the same thing where he's been dropped and then won that same fight off of just him being tough. And I think Charles Oliveira, though, I think what's going to happen, Charles Oliveira does have different power than most of Gamrot's opponents. He has better power than all of Gamrot's past opponents. And what I think is going to happen is I think he's going to get rocked really bad. He's going to go for that double leg that he always does. And I think Charles Oliveira is going to pull guillotine. And maybe the guillotine doesn't really work for him. Maybe he somehow transitions to the back, or maybe he gets a Darce. I'm going to say maybe a guillotine. Maybe either a guillotine or he gets the back, gets a rear naked choke, and he submits or passes out Mateusz Gamrot. I'm going to say round 2. I'm going to say Gamrot has decent success with his wrestling in round 2. He doesn't get cracked. Maybe Oliveira's still trying to feel him out, you know. Obviously, just got flatlined, so, you know, he's right back in there. He's going to be a little bit... But there are definitely like it wouldn't shock me if Gamrot won, though, because the weight cut, because Oliveira just got KO'd, because it's a different opponent than he was expecting. And that's another factor, right? This is short notice for Gamrot. Yes, he's in great shape, but like short notice is short notice. So I'm going to say Mateusz Gamrot loses a round 2 sort of. He gets rocked, gets subbed. Round 2 by Charles Oliveira. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, sub. Again, I know the lighting isn't, or the camera is, I'm trying to figure it out, so bear with me. If you have any tips for me in the comments, let me know. Not, when I say tips, I don't mean like a John Jones kind of tip. I mean like tips. Yeah. Anyways, like, comment, share, sub. Let me know your predictions down below. Do you think Oliveira is going to win? I think he has a great chance of winning. See you guys. I was going to dab, but like we're not in 2016. Like, what are we fucking doing here? See you guys. Peace.